Since we're talking about the future flight path of Indigo, and I would imagine that you would hope this is put to rest sooner rather than later and the company moves forward and focuses on business strategy. How much of a distraction has this been? This is an opportunity for Indigo with the fact that you've seen jet vacate market, you've seen a cooling off of crude prices. There's, of course, been a lot of talk around your expansion plans. How much of this dispute has been a distraction which has taken away from the company's future plans?
Well, I will be less than honest if I say that there was no distraction as far as senior management was concerned. Because when you get letters from SEBI that you got to respond to, you commit time, you commit bandwidth to getting papers, preparing all of that. So I think some attention of senior management has been diverted to attend to these matters when they would have been better off focusing on the airlines business and the expansion plans. That said, they've done a great job, even in spite of this distraction. I think there are no residual issues. As we speak today, I can't think of another issue that will surface and distract management. So now that we put this behind us, we have a very robust RPT policy, the best in the country, I imagine, with the additional safeguards. We will have an expanded board. We will capture on that board the kind of diversity that we need to have, not just gender diversity, but in terms of experience, great management team, and a market opportunity which, as you said, is presented itself because some of the other airlines have fallen by the wayside or are falling by the wayside. This is not something we will pass up, no.
Okay, so you're saying that there are no residual outstanding issues as of today?
None at all.
But you don't know if a new issue could be brought to the table?
Well, I cannot rule out that a year or 2 or 5 years later some issue would crop up. You can't say that about any company. After that, we've seen in a very large group not so long ago, a few years ago, when everyone thought everything was going very well, suddenly something emerged in the public domain. I don't think anything of that kind will happen. I think shareholders' patience has been tested. They have been subject to a severe shock when you see that your airline has got 50% of domestic market, but your share is tanking because of what is happening in the boardroom and not in the marketplace.
Air India, the disinvestment process is likely to kickstart once again, and this time the government says that it will go the whole distance, so 100% will be on offer. Indigo, previously had expressed interest in the international operations of Air India. Would this be of interest at all?
I don't know whether I can speak on this at all. I have neither the knowledge at this point of time on whether the airline would be interested, nor have we discussed it in the board or outside of the board. Should that happen, you'll get to know.
Okay. Let me then end by asking you, Mr. Damodaran, as you pointed out, you would like to ensure that the trust that shareholders have reposed in this company, in this management, is not taken lightly, is not taken casually, and we've seen that erosion in the past. What more can you do to ensure that there will not be these sort of unexpected shocks that one will have to deal with?
I think, like every company that means well by its stakeholders, we will have continuing communications with stakeholders on what they need to know so that they are not misinformed by speculation and stuff like that. We will address any concerns that surface as far as the airlines operations are concerned. We will engage more with stakeholders, as I mentioned, and we will certainly see that the board, which is supposed to provide superintendent's direction and control, does not become a burden for the management in terms of boardroom battles impacting on the bandwidth. That, I think, is going to be what we are going to work on.
Have you heard from Mr. Gangwal post the AGM, and were you aware that he would not be attending the AGM? Because many questions were raised by shareholders about his absence.
Let me say this, in many companies I have seen that many directors, forget the fact that he's a promoter. You don't attend AGM as a promoter but as a director when you do. I have seen many directors not coming to AGMs. There have been occasions, even in this company in the past, when some directors have not come. So his not being at the AGM is not something that should, in the ordinary course, worry us. I think what shareholders were upset about was the fact that some of what he did translated to erosion in shareholders' interests. Therefore, they wanted to hear from him firsthand. Maybe they had a few questions for him. And that, in some sense, heightened the disappointment, arising from his absence. But I wouldn't want to read more into his not being present than the fact that I don't think anyone's had a 100% track record in AGMs.
Have you heard from him on the website that he set up and whether that will continue, or will he shut that down?
I've heard of the website. I haven't seen it, honestly. What information I need to know about the companies on whose boards I sit, I get from the official websites of the company, because even they are numerous enough to keep me busy if I keep looking at the websites to see what information is there. I haven't had a conversation with him on that. That's entirely his call, I think, whether he, having put it up there, does he want to take it out, does he want to discontinue it, because he put it up, I imagine, for a purpose, that he thought it would serve a purpose. Does that purpose survive the agreement regarding the expansion of the board and the RPT policy? I'm not so sure.
A final question, because again there has been a lot of speculation and talk around whistleblower complaints.
Yes.
Have there been whistleblower complaints that have been received by the management, by the board, that pertain to issues like the related party transactions or any of the concerns that have been raised by Mr. Gangwal?
The company has a whistleblower policy in place, and the official in charge of the whistleblower policy told the board in response to a question that she had not received any whistleblower complaint from anyone. Then we requested Mr. Gangwal that whatever whistleblower complaints come to you, please advise them to also make use of the whistleblower platform that exists. I don't think we've seen anything. We've not seen anything, certainly on related party transactions. I'm the chairman of the audit committee, so I would get to know if whistleblower complaints come. Nothing has come on our
Nothing has come so far. Mr. Damodaran, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us here with important clarifications, as well as giving us an insight on what the road ahead looks like for Indigo and for InterGlobe Aviation. Thanks very much for your time.
Through you, I want to tell the stakeholders of Indigo that all of us are on the right path. We are, of course, airborne, and we'll continue to fly higher.
All right, we wish you the very best of luck with that. Well, that is the chairman there of InterGlobe Aviation on the flight path for the airline going forward. But for now, from all of us here on the team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.